This person made an effort. They tried to move on. They tried to leave it all behind. They tried to erase your name, silence the memory, forget the details. But they couldn't, because even though time has passed, the measuring stick remained, and that measuring stick was you. Every new glance felt incomplete. Every new attempt sounded forced. Every different presence only highlighted what was missing. This person wanted something fresh, but they carried you in every choice, in how they compared, doubted, and expected too much. You became the standard. Not because you were perfect, but because you were impactful in the wrong way, and everything that came after had to compete with what had no ending, with what remained unresolved, with what had no answers. This person swore they were ready for a new story, but deep down, they were still having mental conversations with you, still rehearsing unsaid arguments, still nurturing the illusion of an ideal closure that never came. While seeking out the new, this person remained trapped in the old, not by conscious choice, but by an invisible bond that you left behind. A silent expectation, a contaminated absence. Those who came afterward never had a chance, because anything that didn't hurt like you felt empty, and this person hardly noticed. They thought they were being demanding, but really they were just longing for the wrong intensity, for the attachment that hurt, yet felt like love. This person became a collector of almost, because you left, but you left a type of presence that no one else can fill. Have you noticed this? Have you ever been the reason someone couldn't love anyone anymore? If this person still carries you inside without realizing it, this is a letter that won't say what you want to hear. It reveals what pulses, even when no one admits it. It's long, alive, cutting. It's about something that hasn't died. And precisely because of that, it delays everything trying to be born. From here on, every word was written for those who carry an unresolved past as if it were a compass, and they don't even realize it. Someone wanted to embrace the new, but compared everything to you. There's something that no one has the courage to say. There are people who don't move on. They pretend. They disguise themselves as having overcome it. They post ready-made quotes. They put on a show. But inside, they're still there, at the same point where everything came to a halt. And this person, yes, the one who tried to replace you, is one of those. They tried to leave without cleaning up the mess. They tried to live without processing the pain. They tried to forget without first understanding what happened. And that's why even today, everything that comes is measured by you, even if you're no longer around, even if you don't say anything anymore. Even if you've already moved on. What no one sees is that you remained. You remained in the criteria. You remained in the filter. You remained in the expectations. Each new attempt of this person was tainted by the memory of what you both were, or what you almost were. Because it's not just about nostalgia, it's about the absence that became the standard. The emptiness that shaped perception. You left, yes, but you left traces. And they are deep, they're invisible, but they determine everything. This person thought it was enough to change your name in their contact list. Block, silence, unfollow. They thought a new body was enough to feel different, that a new promise was enough to forget what was broken. But every new touch may felt incomplete, every glance too superficial, every attempt soulless. And maybe they never said this out loud, but deep down they compared, always compared. They didn't talk to anyone, not even admitted it to themselves. But every time a new conversation began, your voice still echoed. Every time someone treated them well, the memory came back of how you made them feel alive even when you hurt them. You became the reference point, not because you were everything, but because you were too intense to be just another. It was precisely because it wasn't closed properly, that it never opened the same way again. She tried to force enthusiasm. She forced desire. She forced connection. But her mind wandered. It returned to you in the smallest details, a song, an outfit, a way of looking. She missed what you never even lived, what was promised but never came, what she imagined, and you let happen, only halfway. And no one who comes after and can compete with something that was never realized. Because what was never lived always seems perfect. And she used that as a defense, as an excuse, as self-sabotage. This person told herself, it's not the same. It doesn't make me feel. There's no chemistry. But deep down, It was fear. The fear of being hurt again, the fear of believing, the fear of opening up, of trusting, because you taught her to expect the worst, even while making it seem like the best. She wasn't waiting for you to come back. She was waiting for someone to erase what you left behind. And that, no one has managed to do. She has tried to laugh at other jokes. She has slept in other embraces. She has called other people my dear. But all of that felt too small next to the wrong intensity you offered. Because what holds on the most isn't the beautiful moments. It's what was left unresolved, and you remained, not in presence, but in memory, in the way she learned to protect herself, in the way she began to doubt, in the lack of surrender even when she wanted to feel deeply. You became a kind of emotional filter. Everything that comes passes through you first. This person hasn't moved on. She just became silent. But inside, she still relives. She relives scenes. She relives phrases. She relives the promises you made with your eyes and unmade with your silence. And now everything that is new carries the shadow of what was unresolved. The people who come later can feel it, even without understanding, even without knowing your name. They sense that there's not enough space, that this person's heart is divided with someone who's already gone, and that destroys any new beginning. Because you can't love halfway, you can't trust without giving yourself fully. It's impossible to be with someone while thinking about another, and that person is trapped, present in new scenarios but emotionally anchored to you. Do you have any idea of the impact you have made? Do you realize how much you changed the way that person relates to others? They began to choose differently, to expect less, to accept little, and all of this because you were intense when you entered and confusing when you left. They learned to doubt affection, to doubt intentions, to be suspicious of love, and they started to settle for the superficial because the deep connections hurt. You became this poorly healed pain, this unanswered silence, this loud absence. And the saddest part is that they didn't even notice how much this shaped their own path. They just thought the problem was the world, other people, everyone else. But it was you. It still is. How many times did they block someone out of fear of repeating what they experienced with you? How many times did they avoid opening up because they remembered how you vanished just when they let their guard down? How many times did they say, "I'm fine," when inside they still had a scream stuck in their throat? How many times did they rehearse saying what they feel, but their voice died from the fear of hearing the same type of disdain that you offered? They recalibrated themselves to fit into reality after you. But the truth is, they never fit anyone again, because you became the standard, a standard of pain, of commitment, of doubt, of intensity, and everything that doesn't reach that threshold. They consider it too little, even if it's good, even if it's healthy, even if it's light. They miss the weight you left behind, because they confused presence with turbulence, and now they don't know how to love without getting hurt. If you've understood up to this point, there's just one question that can no longer be ignored. Have you been the standard that ruined all the new beginnings for someone? They don't show it, but they feel it. They feel it when someone gives a compliment, and it seems insufficient. They feel it when someone insists, and they pull back for no reason. You feel it when someone offers everything, yet everything still seems insufficient because it lacks the taste of the chaos you used to bring. You think it was just a story, but for her, it was the origin of an emotional disfigurement. And now? Now any gesture of affection feels like a threat. Any display of affection is unsettling. Any attempt at deep connection sounds like a trap. Because you taught her that, in the end, everyone leaves, especially when she starts to feel. This person changed, not because she wanted to, but because she needed to harden herself to avoid being broken again. Yet in that process, she stopped recognizing herself. Before, she felt too much. Now she pretends to feel nothing. Before, she cried out loud. Now she drowns in silence. Before, she wanted to build. Now she just watches everything crumble and thinks, "I knew it." This person has become someone who lives on the defensive, who builds walls before understanding if there's a threat, who retreats when she feels her heart race. And all of this is a reflection of you, of the way you were, of how you confused presence with promise, of how you left questions hanging. waiting for time to answer what only courage could clarify. And now, anyone who tries to enter these finds ruins. They don't find a person, they find an unresolved story. You. It's your name that's still etched in things no one else sees. In comparisons, in judgments, in the long pauses before answering a message. This person still wonders, am I really feeling something? Or is it just loneliness? Is it worth trying again? Or will I get hurt one more time? And it's in this confusion that she loses herself. And in this mess, she ends up pushing away even those who came with their whole hearts, because you left her soul half-formed. Have you ever stopped to think about how many versions of love this person has rejected, while still searching for what she had with you? Have you noticed that your absence has become the reference for presence? It's not that she wants you back. She wants to understand why you're still here, even though you're not a part of her life. She wants to forget, but the memory keeps repeating like an addiction. She wants to close the chapter, but the chapter never really ended. There was a violent pause, a forced silence, an ending without conversation, and those who don't finish things properly keep restarting incorrectly. This person is still looking ahead, but with their eyes stuck in the past. And do you know what the worst part is? Sometimes she blames herself for not being able to feel like she did before, for not being open, for not getting excited about the new. But she doesn't understand that what's holding her back isn't weakness, it's trauma, it's memory, it's you. Yes, you are the echo that still disrupts any new song. And maybe you're reading this thinking it's an exaggeration, but it's not. It's just what happens when someone goes too deep and leaves as if nothing happened. You left her dealing alone with the mess that was caused for both of you. And now she deconstructs everything that looks like love, out of fear of rebuilding the same pain. It's no longer about missing you. It's about everything that came after you. The emptiness, the doubt, the coldness, the confusion. She didn't just lose a relationship. She lost the ability to trust her own perceptions, because with you, she thought everything was fine. And still, Lassie, it ended without explanation. So now, even when something seems right, she doubts. She doubts the feeling. She doubts the intention. She doubts the love. This person is exhausted. Exhausted from repeating patterns, from trying to forget what still throbs, from saying everything is fine when it clearly isn't. And you? Can you realize what you provoked? Do you understand that, even without meaning to, you shaped her next steps? Have you ever gone through something similar? Did someone ever use you as a benchmark? Did they ruin their own fresh starts because of you? If this has ever happened to you, comment now. I needed to hear this, because the truth is this person is never going to be the same. And maybe she never will be again. Unless you understand, unless you realize, unless you look at everything that's still hidden beneath the armor. But it's not over yet. There's one last thing you need to face, and it's the hardest of all. This person might still be waiting for you to return, not to start over, but to give meaning to the end, to hear what was never said, to understand what remained unresolved, to be able to move on without having to carry you. And if you, even in silence, also feel that something was left unfinished, the time is now, not to relive, but to set free. Her from you, and you from what you didn't have the courage to hold on to. This person might even say they've moved on. They might laugh loudly. They might post self-help quotes. They might seem happy. But when they lay their head on the pillow, the emptiness still speaks. And it has your name. Because there's something that was never resolved, and what remains unresolved repeats. The cycle renews in other voices, other bodies, other kisses. But in the end, everything returns. The comparison, the discouragement, the premature giving up, and everything that comes after comes carrying the emotional baggage you left behind. She tries to move on, but she's still defending herself from a danger that has already passed, but was never truly gone. And that's why, deep down, no new connection lasts. Nothing deep can hold, nothing light can stay, because this person is still with you, even without you, carries the bitter taste of the almost, the frustration of what wasn't, the fear of repeating, and maybe they don't even realize it, because sometimes the pain settles in so well that we confuse it with part of who we are. But now, it can't be ignored any longer. If you've made it this far, it's because you felt that this text wasn't just about someone. It was about you too. Maybe you are the one who left someone trapped. Maybe you're the one who got trapped by someone. Or maybe you're on both sides of the story. And now? Now it's time to realize. Because as long as this isn't named, it will continue to shape everything. Even the purest love will be sabotaged by ghosts that no one had the courage to bury. And that's why you need to share this video with someone who needs to understand why things aren't working out. Share it with those who still compare everything to a past that won't return. Maybe this is the only chance to free what still weighs them down. Comment below. Have you ever been the reason that ruined someone's new beginnings? Or have you ever had someone do that to you? We need to talk about this. We need to open up this space. You can help a lot of people just by writing about what you felt. And if this message touched you in any way, give a like now. It's the simplest way to show that this topic needs to reach more people. Subscribe to the channel, because here we don't just throw around cliches, we say what needs to be said, even if it hurts.